40 years ago, Korea was widely considered to be a third world country, having barely begun to rebuild from war. Recently, a Korean poultry company purchased Allen Foods in Sussex County and saved hundreds of jobs. This is the world we now live in. Evraz of Russia owns the steel plant in Claymont. German-based Fraunhofer plans to expand its research and development in Newark. Companies from many other countries are important employers throughout our state. This is the world we now live in. It's more global, more productive, more competitive. It is a new world of unprecedented opportunities to create new partnerships, to sell to new customers, to innovate, and to collaborate in ways that were previously unimaginable. Now, this new world begins in Delaware schools. And we made the difficult choice to raise our academic standards for the world that our children will live in. Teachers across the state are transitioning to the Common Core standards, a set of uniform, higher standards that will better prepare our students for the global economy. Now, as we move to these higher standards, fewer of our students will meet them initially. This is not an easy change, but it's one that we must make, and our students will rise to the challenge. And thanks to another investment made by this body, 10,000 Delaware students will participate in a world language immersion program over the next decade. 340 students started the program this year. For example, at McIlvain Early Learning Center in Magnolia, 100 kindergartners spend half their school day learning science, social studies, and math in Chinese. Now, it takes great teachers to keep up with these young learners. Research confirms what parents know, that nothing contributes to student learning as much as a quality teacher. We have many excellent teachers in Delaware. Now, here are 3 ways that we can get more. Now, first, new teachers need to be ready to make a difference on their first day in the classroom. And I recently heard a teacher's account of his conversation with the student. The student said she wanted to be a nurse, but she'd probably become a teacher instead because she didn't have the grades for nursing. As though she didn't need excellent preparation to be a teacher. And this is a perception that we need to dispel. Teaching is a demanding profession, and our admissions requirements for teacher preparation programs should reflect this. So Secretary Murphy will be working with our universities to strengthen the standards for entry into the teaching profession. And just as lawyers take a bar exam before they begin practicing law, we also need a rigorous exit assessment for our preparation programs, which includes demonstration of content knowledge as well as teaching skills. And these steps will help ensure that today's college graduates are ready to make an impact for generations of Delaware students. Now, second, we need to keep great teachers in Delaware classrooms. 40% of new teachers in Delaware leave teaching within 4 years. Every year I have lunch with our state's Teacher of the Year nominees. And every year I hear the same question. Why is the only opportunity for teachers to gain additional prestige and pay to leave the classroom for administration? It shouldn't be. Our best teachers should be able to stay on the front lines of learning. Now, our 2013 Teacher of the Year, John Sell, is a great example. He is not just a teacher of high school students. He's a teacher of teachers. Now, teachers like John should be formally recognized as teacher leaders, role models in their schools who have demonstrated their abilities, are ready to help other teachers, and earn more for putting their experience to work in the classroom. Now, I ask that the General Assembly work with me to formally create this role with the prestige and the compensation it deserves. Now, third, we should strengthen our compensation system to better attract great teachers where we need them. Our highest poverty schools in Delaware have almost twice the teacher turnover of our lowest poverty schools. And if we're to have the best education system in the country, we can't continue to have the lowest starting and average teacher salaries in our region. Now, we can change this without substantial new resources by re-examining our pay structure, which has not been substantively changed in decades. So I'm asking the General Assembly to work with me to re-examine that pay structure so we can incentivize teaching in high-need schools and critical subjects, to raise starting teacher pay, and to reward teacher leadership. Now, communities attract business investment by being vibrant with recreation and culture, and also by being safe. Delaware State Police and their colleagues from Wilmington and Newcastle County are working with Attorney General Biden to reduce violent crime in the city of Wilmington. These efforts include intelligence gathering, targeted investigations, and an emphasis on ensuring that those who are most violent are off the street. Last year, I authorized 6 new state troopers from the Violent Crime Fund to focus on this violence and on the drug trafficking groups that commit the majority of homicides in Delaware. This year, I proposed funding for 6 additional troopers with the same focus. Suicides amongst our youth are the most tragic child mental health problems in our state. And thanks to the leadership of Lieutenant Governor Den and others, we've taken serious steps to address them. Last year, we worked together to fund new training for frontline school personnel in Kent and Sussex counties to recognize early signs of trauma in children. We worked together with the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine to offer the highest quality training to all of our high schools in detection and prevention of depression in teenagers. But there is still more to do, both to address the youth suicides and the many other mental health issues that professionals are seeing in our children. It starts in our schools, where our kids spend so much of their day. We've got the ability to provide some mental health services in Delaware high schools, and we have family crisis therapists in some elementary schools. But we have almost no mental health resources in our middle schools. Only 3 of our state's middle schools have full-time professionals responsible for the mental health needs of students at that critical age. That is a huge gap in our care for adolescents. I asked the General Assembly to join me in addressing this need. I propose a 10-fold increase in the number of trained frontline mental health personnel in our middle schools. This investment will help ensure that our kids get the services they deserve. And over the long term, it will also help Delaware build a better private network of child mental health providers. We don't have enough mental health providers right now. So let's allow pediatricians and family doctors to do telephone consultations with expert child psychiatrists. Let's also invest in long-distance mental health services provided through technology like Skype. Telemedicine like this can help get kids services without waiting for weeks or months for appointments. Simple investments like these can make a real difference in a child's life, and I ask you for your support. The world that we now live in is different than anything our parents knew. It's more competitive, more global, and more connected. But it was made possible by their choices and their sacrifices. And our obligation to our children is to prepare the way for their world, a Delaware better than anything that came before it. We must leave a Delaware in which every child has a great teacher, and in which every student graduates career or college ready. A Delaware in which our workforce, our quality of life, and our responsiveness drive entrepreneurship and growth and employment. A Delaware in which our streets are safe and inviting, and in which those so often forgotten among us, adults and youth with mental illness, receive the services and the support that they deserve. A Delaware that protects the rights of all its citizens, no matter whom they love. A Delaware that responsibly protects its natural resources and that understands the risks and opportunities of climate change and sea level rise. We can create this Delaware, but it will require us to put that future and those who will inhabit it ahead of ourselves. if we meet that test, if we are as good as the people we serve and lead, we will make wise choices today that will benefit generations of Delawareans for years to come. We will give those future Delawareans reason to greet a changed world with open arms, sure in the knowledge that we did for them what was done before for us, that prepared the way for their success, that we passed on to them a Delaware whose brightest days are still to come. Thank you.